Late yesterday, I was asked if I would make a video about Mallory McMorrow dropping out, and I said that I would, and I got derailed by all of the Graham Plattner stuff that came out late today. But you know what? I think now, in the wake of everything we're learning about Plattner, who as of the time I am filming this has not yet dropped out, I think it's more important than ever that we talk about candidates who have integrity, candidates who have a proven track record, candidates who can deliver on their promises. So late yesterday, Mallory McMorrow suspended her Senate campaign. And, she's somebody who's been considered a rising star in the Democratic Party. She has the right look. She says the right things. She's a professing Christian. She appeals very, very much to a kind of centrist Democrat candidate. She's very much somebody that the party wants to platform. So in this Michigan race, there were basically 3 viable primary candidates. And one of those was McMorrow, who had a lot of support, I think, from more moderate white women. I think she defines herself as sort of center-left, but I would argue that she's pretty center. But then to the right of her, you have AIPAC-backed, Chuck Schumer-endorsed Haley Stevens, at a time when overwhelmingly Democrats do not trust the establishment. Democratic voters do not trust the establishment leadership. Nobody trusts Chuck Schumer. Nobody thinks Chuck Schumer is good at leading the Democrats. He's been an utter failure, right? And then you also have tons and tons of pushback where we want our elected officials to work for us, not for AIPAC. Now, I covered a story from several weeks ago about how McMorrow took her own share of PAC money. But she's definitely the candidate who is bridging Haley Stevens and then Abdul El-Sayed on the left. He is the candidate who has tons of energy behind him. AOC has endorsed him. Abdul is a supporter of Medicare for all. He would be the first Muslim U.S. senator. He has gotten tons of support from Bernie Sanders and the political left. He's incredibly well respected, and it's really freaked out the establishment to have figures like Hassan Piker come in and talk him up, campaign for him, platform him to a large audience. McMorrow came out fighting a little bit, especially over the fact that Hassan had endorsed Abdul, and she made some statements that did not sit well with folks. And you could see that she was slipping in the polls, and yesterday she decided to drop out. And I get that a lot of her supporters are not happy, but one of the things I have seen that's really encouraging is that folks who supported Mallory are immediately pivoting to support Abdul. I think that McMorrow saw the writing on the wall. She realized that she was likely splitting the vote for Abdul, and she graciously backed out of the race. She did the right thing.
If you're a Mallory McMorrow supporter, this pajama-clad video is for you. And first of all, I want to say thank you to Mallory because it takes courage and a ton of belief in the exact vision you stood up for to step aside in this race. And I want to talk with full clarity about what that leaves on the table for us. And I'm talking directly to your supporters because I, too, am a Mallory supporter. And when this Senate race started, I too was Team Mallory. You see, I've supported her for years. Her viral speech, the one where she stood up and reminded us that our voices mattered. And reminded white women, suburban white women like myself, that we have a responsibility to show up. We don't get to sit on the sidelines and sit this out. And that moment is honestly part of what pushed me deeper into politics. And then she opened up my eyes and so many others with her no apologies political approach. You see, she opened our eyes to what we could ask for from candidates. And in doing so, she brought with her so many of these pillars that I ended up leaning further into everything she told us to ask for. You see, with Mallory stepping aside, the race becomes a conversation about the exact things she pushed us to think about. What kind of politics do we want? How do we make sure that elected officials are accountable to the people that they serve? How do we get money out of politics so everyday people can participate in our democracy? And if we say that we want to change politics, then we have to actually be willing to vote for it. You see, Mallory made so many of us believe that politics could be better and that our voice mattered. So now the question is, which candidate carries forward that kind of change that made you believe in her in the first place?
Friends, Abdul here. I just learned that Senator McMorrow has decided to suspend her campaign. I just want to say to her, her family, everybody involved in that campaign, her supporters, thank you for the work that you did for democracy. Our democracy runs on people putting in that kind of effort. None of a question, despite our policy differences, whether or not Senator McMorrow would show up to fight for my daughters and hers. But the question to all of us now is this. Are we willing to allow AIPAC, big corporations, Chuck Schumer, to show up and rig our democracy, to choose who our Democratic nominee is going to be? They spent $30 million to drown her out. Now they're spending millions to attack me. This is all in an effort to cherry pick from Washington, D.C. or New York who gets to be the Democratic nominee for Senate from Michigan. I think we get that choice. So I'm asking everybody who supported her to support us now. Our movement is one of joy about the future we can have when we get money out of politics, put money in your pocket, pass Medicare for all. And for all the folks who've been with us all along, thank you for everything. But right now is the time to double down. So if you haven't made that contribution yet, this is the time. If you haven't done that shift that you've been thinking about doing, now is the time. It is us, the UAW, Bernie Sanders, AOC, the nurses, working families, against the oligarchs, big corporations, AIPAC, Chuck Schumer. We know we can win, but we need you.
So I put out 2 videos back to back expressing my anger and frustration about Graham Plattner. I had my little meltdown on social media about it. And I think we can get really bogged down with one man who, or it's a string of men who are a big problem, but it doesn't mean that we should lose hope in politics. I think the Republicans would like all of us to feel so disillusioned and cynical that we no longer participate, that we lose that momentum. We're looking at all of these DSA, progressive, Medicare for all, big change, get corporate money, AIPAC money out of our government, get representation for the people candidates, and they want to see that momentum grind to a halt. They want us all to become apathetic and cynical and to peace out, and we cannot do that. One very flawed man has let us down, but it doesn't mean that there aren't tons and tons of other good candidates. And I believe that Abdul is one of those. He very swiftly came out in condemnation of Plattner. And also, it's not just him. There are good candidates all over this country. Democracy is on the line. The stakes are higher than they have ever been. With this scandal from Plattner now, the stakes are even higher. We have to make sure that we get folks elected who will work for us, who will fight for democracy, who will fight for us, right? We need folks who are our partners. We need public servants in government who are our partners, who are willing to hold the line and not just do that, not just push back, right? Not just keep the fascists at bay, but to create policy and change that will give us the kind of life that we deserve, that will make America truly, truly a place with life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Set flawed candidates like Plattner aside, but understand there are really good people who are risking so much at this moment in time. When Donald Trump is stoking political violence against DSA candidates, when we see that candidates like Abdul face political violence because of white supremacists, because of the far right, we have to get behind these folks because they are getting behind us. They are willing to take a risk on behalf of us and the future of this country. And we should feel encouraged about that. I think the momentum is still building. I think change is still coming. We're not going to let one white dude derail the change that we're after. We're not going to let one man derail our energy and take it all from us. We're not letting one dude derail this train. The Republicans would love nothing better. Chuck Schumer and the AIPAC Democrats, the corporate Democrats, the billionaires, the Epstein class would love nothing better than for all of us to be so despondent over Graham Plattner that we lose our political momentum, that we become apathetic, that we piece the fuck out. We're not doing that. The future belongs to us if we are willing to reach out and claim it. And I don't know about you, but I'm not going to let some flawed white dude deprive me of the future that I deserve, that my children deserve, that my community deserves, that this entire nation deserves. We're going to move forward with our spiteful optimism. We're going to continue to understand the assignment and move in the direction we need to move, take the steps that we need to take. We're going to support the right candidates. We're going to get out and vote, and we're going to have a plan for what happens after the midterms when the Republicans will not leave, when the Republicans are determined to undermine the results of free and fair elections. We're getting our shit together. We got our game plan. We understand the future is still ours.